I'm back, bitches! Extra kudos to those who know what that's a reference to. Yeah, sorry about that. This is a vlog after all. Didn't mean to offend anyone. Well, VT. Hello my geeky guys and gals, welcome back to my revamped channel. Did you like that intro there? Was it good? Yeah, made it for myself. Brilliant, I love it. Anyway, on to my vlog. What we're talking about today, we've got a few things to talk about. First off, I am proud to say, as you can see, my YouTube channel has been updated. I'm now going to be focusing on the horror games, but I've also come across a few other things as well during the off time as well. So if I see something interesting which is not horror themed, then I'm going to stick it in the bonus videos. It's something really funny or really obscure or just plain WTF, something worthwhile, then I'm going to play it and stick it on the bonus feature for you. So why have I been offline for 2 weeks? Well, hopefully if you've been watching some of my earlier videos, you'll know that I've been making my own PC case, and I'm just going to show this little illustration here. Now the whole purpose of it is that cooling is not the most efficient in your typical PC case, and my CPU, even though it's water cooled, was typically reaching temperatures around about 65 to 70 degrees when on full load, in other words playing a game. And while idling it was about 50 degrees, so okay, that's a pretty normal temperature and something that a CPU should easily be able to handle. But in my personal choice, really, if I want for a better word, I prefer it to be as cool as possible to extend life. So I had this idea. It came across to me from another video I saw on YouTube. Now I can't remember as I record this what it is, but when I'm offline to edit this video, I'm gonna try and find the video that I saw that inspired me for this and stick it in the comments. If I can't, I do apologise. But anyway, I saw this video online. I thought, ooh, cool. And I thought, well, I'll just see if I can do something myself. Now I'm not an electronics expert, if I can say it right, and I'm certainly not an electrician either, but I know a few basics. So I decided to do this case, and this little illustration is to show airflow, the most efficient way to use it. Now, as we all know, if you've been to school, cold air sinks to the ground and warm air rises, and in a typical PC case it might have a few fans inside, fair enough, but normally what will happen is that you've got the CPU belting out this massive wad of air, you've got your graphics cards belting out lots of wad of air as well, and in some cases you even have the PSU, the power supply unit, at the top of all the components as well, like it was in my old case. So all the warm air was flowing into the PSU to keep it cool. Haha, as if. So without any monitor temperature for the PSU, I don't know what temperatures are like inside there, and I didn't think it was the most efficient. So what I've done with this new case is that I've sectioned off each area. At the back I've got the PSU and hard drives, and the PSU is at the bottom. With its own built-in fan, all I just needed to do was cut a hole for it so it can draw in its own air from the bottom and kick it out at the back. The hard drives themselves, they've also got two fans. They've got an intake fan in the middle to draw cool air in and kicking out the warm air at the top. Now for the graphics card, because obviously they've already got their cooling fans per card, all I needed was a intake fan at the bottom of the case to draw in the cold air and shove it up to the top where the graphics cards are, and for them to kick it out. So they should run a little bit cooler as well. And lastly, at the front I've got my optical drive, my temperature monitor, and my can't think straight, and my multimedia card reader as well. Now also what came in my original case was a spare USB header which gave HD audio at the front and 2 spare USB sockets, and I thought I'd cannibalise that, so I've put that at the front as well. But they're right down at the bottom. Now they don't kick up much heat because I don't tend to use them much, but I thought I'd still stick them in there because I've still got some games that have to run on CD or DVD and they won't run without them, so that's why I've still put my DVD drive in there. So what I've had to do there was use the intake fan in the middle and the heat exhaust fan at the top. Now it's not the most efficient because what I wanted was the air intake, well actually no, it did work out the way I wanted it to, but what I wanted for the water cooler block, the radiator for the CPU, was to be at the top where all the heat gets kicked out. Now it might not be the best cooling for the CPU itself, but it would have increased longevity for the components inside that which are not fan cooled but are still affected by heat. So I wanted the cold air coming in at the front, cooling everything else off, and the rest of the heat gets kicked out at the top. But space wise it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I've had to put the radiator at the front, which gives it the best cooling for the CPU, and all the rest of the heat gets kicked out at the top. What I've also done as well is, in my original case it only had a HDD light. There was no power light to it whatsoever, so I've drilled a couple of holes into it, one for the HDD activity light and one for the power light. As you're obviously quite well aware, I'm not the most richest guy on earth. I don't own a laser cutter, I don't own a 3D printer, I own nothing like that, so everything I've had to build myself. And despite my best efforts to measure everything properly, sticking everything everywhere, it didn't still quite go to plan 100%. So I've had to make a few alterations to the case design, plus as well with it being wood, it also splintered and cracked and broke in places as well, which was great. But anyway, I've got past that, I've fixed it to the best anyway. And because I don't own all these high-end parts, and I'm not looking to produce this commercially, this is purely for my use, please don't expect anything professional. I know there's a lot more custom built cases out there which are a lot more better looking. The people have spent much more time on this. I mean, for me personally, it took me about a month to do this, but only because I've got a 2-year-old daughter to look after and my partner's pregnant with our second one. So anyway, I've spent all my time on the case there, building it, painting it, fitting it, making sure components worked. Then step by step added parts into it, up until the point when I had to stop using my main PC, hence the last video saying I was going to be out of line for a while, I'll be back as soon as I can. Then I tested everything, make sure that all the parts worked fine, and now we're back up and running. I've played a couple of games since then, and the CPU temperatures are the most affected on the good side, because I use CPU temp. When it's idling it's around about 40 degrees, and under heavy load it's about 49-50 degrees centigrade. So to me that's a win right there. I've got a cooler CPU and it works a whole lot better, and it sounds like a jet engine, but who cares? Well, quite a few people probably care, but not me. That's because in the apartment that I'm living in, the bedroom's right next door, the walls are paper thin, you can hear a pin drop or me farting all night, and so really to experience any gameplay I've got to put my gaming headset on anyway, so that cancels out the noise of the fans, so it's still a bonus for me anyway. So that's that. I've got all the video parts done to show the video case to you, but at the moment it's still under editing stage, so it's not up on YouTube yet. As soon as it is up on YouTube, subscribers will know straight away, but non-subscribers, I'm going to put an annotation link in this video to show you the build. YouTube, now they've done an update themselves. Since I stopped using my PC and had to take it apart and build my PC case up, YouTube has started offering 60 frames per second on its video. Now this was hinted back on my previous vlog video, but now it's finally come through. Now, to prepare myself for the horror game, I've already played a few videos and recorded them, and they're at editing stage as well. My HD video webcam, it only records in 30 frames per second itself, so for the time being I'm going to have to work on those videos, so you're not going to see 60 frames per second videos from me just yet. But on games that can support it, and my video recording as long as that can support it, and my PC's hardware is powerful enough to record it as well, I'll try and do 60 frames per second videos for you. Hopefully it'll look a lot more smoother. Me, it ain't all about quality. It might be for you, and I'll try my best for you. But please, again, you know, it's not the most powerful computer in the world. It does its job, and I'm happy with it. Why not? So I will try my best, but please be patient with me. And so the best news is last. I'm sure you've all heard this because millions of users have been screaming out at this, and it's caused a few lawsuits, and they've finally listened. Apple. Now, there's been many iPhone users saying, "I've saw my iPhone before I disabled iMessage. Now I can't receive text messages from other iPhone users." And finally, Apple, they've finally listened. When you had your iPhone, when they upgraded, I think it was iOS 6 that started this, I'm not sure, I'll have to check up in it, but ever since iMessage was introduced, because Apple don't invent anything, since it was introduced, iMessage allows people to send messages through the data connection and not the SMS feature, potentially saving you money if you're on an unlimited data plan. And we all thought, brilliant, what can go wrong? Well, yeah, you know what went wrong. People ditched iPhone, they went to Android, they went to Windows Phone, and they never received messages from their friends and family that still had iPhone. Why? Because Apple goes, "Ooh, you bought my iPhone, we're gonna lock you into our service now, haha," and there's nothing you can do about it. And Apple seemed to blame it actually on technical hitches, meaning, well, it's not our fault you switched phone, you should have stuck with iPhone. Yeah, they're trying to monopolise without actually using the word monopolise. Well, finally now they've released a tool to disable iMessage whether or not you've still got your iPhone. And for those that don't know as well, if you've never bought an iPhone in your life, what iMessage is, once you've registered, because it sends it through the iMessage data service, you can only receive that text message if you've still got your iPhone. If you don't, because it's Apple's recognised your number as an iMessage user, it tries to send it to your no longer available iMessage part of the SMS app. Difficult to mention because it still uses SMS feature in the phone, but you're receiving it as a data text rather than an SMS text. It's a bit strange to describe if you've never seen it before, but you know, trust me on this. It's a data message service, a little bit like sending a text on Skype. You have to have Skype to receive it, and if you don't, you don't receive it. But what made it worse is that the sender still doesn't get an error message saying that their text was not received by you. So they're thinking, why didn't you respond to my text? And you're like, but I never received a text. And they're trying to argue, yes you did. Anyway, long story short, Apple's finally listened now, and they've released this tool to disable iMessage for when you no longer want to use it. If you've still got your iPhone, it's just a simple matter of switching it off. If you don't, you go to this website, tap in your number, receive a confirmation code, put that number into the website, and done. Simple as. Finally. Now, I tried it and my number apparently has already been recognised by Apple as no longer using iMessage, even though I've never changed my number, because I bought my new, so I bought fairly new my phone, which is an Android phone. You've seen it in my first video with Peggle versus Pegland, and that's an Android phone, and that was bought way, I think it was back in March. Can't exactly remember when I bought it now, and I must have not used iMessage for such a long time that Apple finally actually picked up and said, well, this guy doesn't use iMessage anymore, let's switch him off. So I can't check this website properly anymore, but at least it's there. For users that are still having difficulties, at least it's there, and I'm going to put this website in the description for you to go through it yourselves if you need to. Now, at the time of recording this video, I'm already getting my The Forest gameplay video up and running. Next, I don't know what it's going to be, but I've got a few videos pre-recorded. I'll get them up and running for you as soon as I can. So I hope you enjoy the new channel. I've got a Twitter account set up now as well, so you can contact me on there. If you've got any comments, questions or requests, message me, whichever's the easiest way for you. And for the time being, my geeky guys and gals, bye bye for now. Not another, I don't know anyway, but they're doing some updates to their channel, and apparently according to Sky News they are going to be looking like a good amount of new features come about. Oh, hi Naked Lady. Hi Naked Lady too. Ow. That hurt my noggin a bit. Well, I survived one night. You know, when you're dancing around like that with no beat to listen to, you do look pretty daft doing it. There. Ah well, it's all good fun.